Hello, welcome to See Blissfully Lit podcast. I'm your host, Sammy, and it is my pleasure to introduce Orsola. She is
Hi.
a lovely being joining me today. And Orsola, I'll let you take the floor and introduce yourself, whatever you'd like to share with our audience.
Hello, ciao, because I am actually Italian, so there we go. I am a yoga teacher and energy and spiritual healer, born and raised in Italy and currently based here, but I'm a traveling soul. So I love the internet and how it connects us with everyone everywhere. I I've been on this journey for a long time and finally embraced it as my life path and career. And so I work both with yoga and energy healing of various traditions and practices and try to combine them together. And it's very interesting how everything unfolds every single time.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. It seems we're actually on a very similar path as I do both the same sort of profession.
Yeah.
And as much as I tried to, I guess I would say fit in and do the the corporate regular types of jobs, this spiritual healing just starts to come out and sometimes you have to embrace that natural essence.
Absolutely. I was in many different other things before this, jumping here and there with other jobs, more normal jobs, if you will. And I even had this idea of wanting to do what I do now when I was about 17-ish years old. And then I told myself, no, I'm gonna get the real job. I studied graphic design, I worked in that. I had many like ups and downs, mostly downs with other jobs. And eventually um, I became educated in um, becoming a healer. I did my practices, I did my formations and all of that. And I got the kick in the butt from the universe. And so I dropped everything else.
I actually know what you mean by the kick in the butt by the universe, as
Yeah.
that recently happened to me. Um,
Mm.
d do you remember when that happened? What was the experience like for you?
The kick in the butt, or when I first decided, hey, maybe this is what I could do many years ago.
The kick in the butt.
So I was, as I said, I was working in graphic design, which is what I studied after high school. And then pandemic happened. A lot of problems happened with what I was doing and impossibility to find works and jobs. So renovation of the house, there was a lot going on. And I told myself, I'm gonna do the responsible things and I'm gonna get a basic, let's call it for lack of better words, employed job where where I know that money is gonna come in and I'm gonna just slowly but surely build my way up and see what's gonna happen next, right? And I hated that job. It was so not me. It was the complete opposite of me. I tried to make myself fit into it and say, no, I like it. No, it's good. No, I'm happy. It was really not the case. Sometimes we lie to ourselves just to survive. And eventually things start coming through. One of the things that came through for me was this course from my energy healing teacher, was first level Reiki. And it was exactly randomly when I had already my time of work planned. And so it was like, I've always wanted to do this. Seems like it's happening, like falling into my lap. Let's take it. And I did that. And that kickstart a whole chain effect of things that I was never able to stop. Thankfully, I was never able to stop it. And so eventually I wanted to do Reiki level 2, and I had a lot of resistance, both from apparently my own energy, but also reflected in the real life and my, let's call her my boss, like in the store, and my other colleagues. And it was an absolute mess. They were trying everything to make my life difficult and not give me what I wanted. And so I had to skip the first opportunity to go to do Reiki level 2. And then I planned the next year my time of work in ways that I could for sure go to Reiki level 2. So it became something that I felt so called. And again, it was another layer. And suddenly I decided, you know what, I'm gonna take yoga teacher training online while I work. I've always wanted to do that. Why not now? And you don't really ask why, but the reason is because you're meant to do that. And I did that, and I completed it while I was still working there. Basically, in the same time that I completed that, I raised my voice in this old workplace, and I made them fire me so I could get the benefits from my country, because they were gonna be playing dirty, let's say. And so I basically reached an agreement with them, so everyone was gonna be happy, although it's not the best situation. And I decided I'm just gonna turn everything around, and this is gonna be my path. I already started it, so why not? And here I am.
That's incredible. How long ago was that?
A year and a half ago, 2 years, 2 years, less
Yeah.
than 2 years, more than 1.5.
Having made those steps, how do you feel now? Would you ever reconsider going back?
No, 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 no. It's really a matter of, and you for sure, you know what I'm gonna say, you're gonna understand it. But if anyone has tried even just a little bit of any of these holistic practices, you know that there's a moment when you it's like you meet yourself again for the first time, and you see who you are and who you can be, and maybe you don't know how you really can do that every day in your real life, but you saw it, and it's impossible to forget it at one point. And it has happened before in my life, of course, but this moment was really, really strong. That's why I call it the kick in the butt from the universe, because it showed me that in ways that were too strong to ignore anymore or to lie around. And it's just something that I do not want. It's not that I don't value other career path or employed life. I think those are great for some people, and for sure they have some very advantageous parts of it that are non-existent in what I'm doing now and in other career paths. But it would not be me. And all we do, I believe, is getting to know ourselves the best way that possibly we can, and try to embody our truest self through what we do, who we are, even in the smallest way, which could be, I don't know, well, whatever your hobbies are. It can be many things.
Yeah. And I really appreciate you sharing that because it can open up the door for many people to truly find their path and
Yeah.
their spiritual journey and perhaps their passion.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to know that just because for me was to pursuing this career as my life and output in the world, as this is what I do, period. For you, it might be a hobby or a side job or a side hustle, or you don't have to become a teacher or a guide or a coach or a healer to pursue your path, whatever that is, but opening up to the curiosity, at least, of spirituality in whichever way works for you. Hey, maybe you start lighting up incenses, and that's what works for you now. Let's go.
Thank you. I'd love to hear what inspirations or teaching have significantly impacted or influenced your journey.
Oh, okay. So I do not say this lightly, so it's gonna sound very grandiose, but literally holistic practices and yoga and energy healing saved my life. I was diagnosed when I was in my teenage years with complex CPTSD, anxiety disorder. I had so much somatization of all that stuff on me. Doctors told me I was done. So many times there was no hope for me. Clearly, I did not listen, because I'm here and I'm happy and I'm living my life in the best ways that I possibly can. And every single day it's a little bit better, it's a journey. But I basically decided to pick everything into my own hands and healing myself. And I guess I always like to talk about the universe being a constant presence around us, because this is what I believe. And yeah, the non-duality, we are just one expression of the whole, let's say that. So it's clearly always within us. And I was introduced to this holistic practitioner, who was also a psychologist. And she has a mix of techniques that she practiced together. And she was a friend of my mom. And my mother was telling her about our situation, my situation. And she told my mother that I reminded a lot of her when she was a teenager, and she wanted to meet me if I was open to and see if her approach could help me. And I was like, absolutely, let's try. And that was the first thing that changed everything for me. She introduced me to meditation, the energy flow of the body, the chakra system, breath work. And I was just a client, let's say, but I was also, I feel like, kind of a student, because I was a kind of a unique client. I was the daughter of a friend. So it was something that she was opening up and sharing a lot with me. And I was so curious. I really made that my lifeline to study and get curious and to practice on my own. I was almost bedridden, so I could not do anything. And movement is such an important part in my life. So I started doing gentle yoga on my bed and learning about everything. And slowly but surely, I healed and I was good. And everyone was, how did you do that? People say that I healed out of stubbornness, which is a way to approach that, because I think that your inner self, your will, is there to guide you, and if you just listen to it, it's not gonna be easy sometimes. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but that was the first thing that really put me into the path. And there are many other people I met, I talked to, I practice with. My own energy healing teacher is like a major one for me. I randomly met her in this tiny town of 300 people when she was just offering a free seminar about soul alignment. Is that the translation in English? Sorry, sometimes I have to kind of make it
Yeah.
on the spot. And I just met her. I did that with her. She basically, it's an idea of aligning your energy out of what happened before conception. So throughout basically every time that we reincarnate, if you believe in that, we work through stuff, but there's still something that goes a little and so why not try to make that path a little smoother, so you can do the work that you want to do in this life a little easier without that many resistance. So this is the first
Yeah.
day that I met her and changed my life completely. And all the Reiki and everything got kickstarted because I did this and I met her. And so she's another immense influence in my life and someone I'm really grateful for.
What a treasure.
Yeah,
It's so amazing to synchronistically meet people like that who make such a significant change in your life by
absolutely.
just being themselves and just sharing
Yes,
what they're here to share.
totally agree. And it's exactly how you say, I was also waitressing in the moment and I should have been in the restaurant that night, but something happened and they decided not to open that night. And so I could go to this place where I met my teacher. That's the synchronicity of it all.
Yeah, it's incredible when those types of situations happen. And I found more and more, and I don't know if you also feel this way, but as I embrace my own authenticity more and I embrace myself more in different situations, that happens more often than
Totally.
not.
It's like the more you get aligned on your own unique energy field, the more the energy fields that are supposed to meet with yours will, because you're not trying to sway here and there. You're just, yeah, that's what my teacher calls the path of less resistance. It's not gonna be like all heart-shaped pink glasses, but the things that need to be on your path, it's much easier to meet them this way. So why not? So I
Yeah.
love that you experienced that too.
I love that. That's how your teacher put it. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. I would love to hear. So you mentioned that you learned from these different influences in your life. What tools do you continue to use that you learned then? And what
I
tools do you use now, just daily or regularly, that really help you?
Thank you. I think that I keep on using most of them, but through the years, because these all started when I was 17 and I am now 32. So it's been a lot of years of curiosity and trial and error and practicing on my own and sharing with others. So I think that I mostly keep on using everything, but it has kind of morphed in a way that is attuned to me. So let's say my basics are for sure meditation, deep awareness of the energy field of the body and the energy channels, the movement. Of course, being an energy healer, that's gonna be fundamental. And movement has always been a great part of my life, especially because I tend to be anxious, like in my nature. I tend to be a little bit all the way. So sometimes when I get really stressed, I know that I should sit down, meditate, do a little bit of pranayama or breath work is another big one for me. But I can't because my physical body is all over the place. It's bouncing, it's stressy, and it's messy. And I learned that yoga has so many approaches, so many styles, and there's always going to be a good one for me in that moment. Does not need to be 1 hour and a half, might be 10 minutes, might be a couple of sun salutations, but that really takes off the edge and allows me to go into the deeper state of self-healing through breath work and meditation. I, I guess those are my main pillars, maybe, but there's a lot. In meditation, I want to also include the fact that I do an experience and receive a lot of energy and spiritual healing through meditation. One of the type of energy healing, which is the spiritual Filipino healing in a traditional way, practice technique, basically teaches the healer to go into a very deep state of meditation, which is the theta state of mind. And then basically you open up to connecting with, want to call it the universe, want to call it source, the guides, the spirits, the ancestors, call it whatever you want, but that is the thing. And you receive guidance in what to do and what not do. And you might also receive healing. And so when I do my meditations, it happens like that. And you have to be open to receive whatever you receive from every practice, in my opinion. So maybe that's why I'm not too strict with a code of what my tools are, because I know my tools, but I leave them open because they are teaching me something new every day that I use them.
That's a very unique and special way of utilizing your tools.
Yeah.
I I
I
really
hope it made sense.
yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yes. And I think it's important to note that we all are unique and we all take different tools differently, just like we have different taste preferences. Our
Absolutely.
bodies, absorb different nutrients differently.
Yes.
And it's really helpful to find and mix and match the tools that work best for you so that you can utilize them and reach your full potential. And I believe that you are doing that and really feeling into that yes and that no and that inner knowing and connecting with your higher self and your intuition.
At least I try my best to do so. And I think the one part that might be added to what I just said is that I do strongly believe that every one of us, whether it's just a practitioner or also a teacher, guide, expert, we should always stay students as well. It's very important to me because there's so much knowledge out there. How can we just even uh, imagine, to know it all and be also able to explain it all. I always believe there's everything that I'm gonna learn every single time, and I can always learn from someone else. And even just this chat with you can teach me so much. Even just your reflection of what I say is a beautiful potential teaching moment. So I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's a pleasure having you and your warm reflection. Uh, it is vibrant. It's incredible how much we can learn each and every day from each moment when we embrace the moment and really just stay open
Yeah.
to what can be. And I think that taps into what you shared about um, being in your own energy frequency and embracing that
Yeah.
because you are bringing in what you're meant to bring in. And perhaps at that time of your life, you're meant to bring in that teaching or that lesson or
Mhm.
that understanding. So I'd like to hear if you have a piece of advice for our listeners who are starting out or maybe feeling stuck on their journeys.
As practitioners, you mean as practitioners, as students, um, or as teachers wanting to, in which way?
Um, Anybody who's on their journey at any point in their journey, whether they're a practitioner, whether they're just dipping their toes into their experience of consciousness.
Got you. I think that what you just said, you basically already give us a little spoiler of what I would like to share, is the openness and curiosity is gonna make the biggest difference. Because, I also have people, some of my students have told me, oh, I remember this position like Uttanasana, forward fold. I was doing it at the gym, or someone made me do it at rugby. Yeah, yeah, but you are doing it in a different context. Everything can be different in a different context, in a different time of your life, and depending on who is guiding you into that. So whatever you're doing, whether it's something as simple as one single pose or the act of lighting up a candle, even just breathing, you would be surprised how much your life changes when you figure out that we don't have any attention on our breath on a regular basis. And it's the most simple thing. We do it to survive every day, but not, why not try to do it to live? So every single smallest thing that you can think of can become practice. And if you're open and curious about it, basically like a child who's not really scared about paying the bills at the end of the month. I'm not saying that you don't have to you have to like completely get rid of everything that is rational in your life. I'm not saying that. But when it comes to your practice, let yourself be open and think that everything is possible. And even if you don't know what the possibilities are, the universe is very loving. It's not gonna trouble you. It's gonna just give you more if you're open to receive it. One one visual that I can give you is like, I can have a coin in my hand and want to give it to you. If you are there with your opens like that, you're gonna catch it if I drop it. I can drop it 1,000 times, and if your hands are on your side, you're never gonna catch it. So I guess this is the most holistic for all the practices advice that I can give anyone to any level.
Thank you. I like the visual of catching the coin. I do like that.
And if you catch the coin and you realize it's not your currency, you don't need it, you can give it to someone else, you can drop it, you can give it back. But if you don't catch it, you never know.
Yeah. And I've noticed if we're in states of worry, of fear, of anxiety, it's harder to catch the coin. It's harder to see that the coin is falling.
Yes, absolutely. And it's also harder to trust that what we might be catching is actually potentially good for us and not something disgusting or something that we don't that might hurt us. Like it's not a knife, it's a coin. And I think that there's really a lot of work that has to be done in getting into a place of trust. And the more you can embody that in your life, the more your life is going to get smoother. But I understand it's very difficult. Trust me, as someone with lots of trauma in their life, I,
Mhm.
I feel you and I want to hug you right now. But if you can cut out a little section of trust in your practice, knowing that there's only going to be you and the universe is not, it's not going to fuck with you, is just going to give you only one, going to give you what you can handle right now. And if you can start trusting that within the little bubble of your practice, it's going to grow, it's going to expand, and catching the coin and feeling fearless enough to put your hands there and be ready to receive is it's going to get easier over time.
Mm, that's so lovely. I actually needed to hear that right now. Thank you.
Oh,
It warms
I,
my heart.
I'm, you see, that's why I was meant to be here.
Such
Daddy,
such
it
lovely
was
advice. So I would love to hear what's your next big aspiration in your journey of conscious transformation?
for myself
Yes.
or okay.
For you, for yourself professionally, like what is your next big, I guess, project or aspiration?
I guess that I'm a very go with the flow kind of person, which has its pros and cons because I have so many ideas all the times, but there's maybe this is tricky because there's a lot of clarity in a space that is not really easy to explain with words or facts or actions. And so I needed to I really received this call of learning to be more in my body and in the 3D of it all, and learn to translate even more and better and more efficiently all that I do learn, and how I can offer it in a way that is better for everyone. So my goal is to always improve that and create situations and space where I can really channel whatever I want to give and share in the best way possible. I'm doing it, yes. Can I improve it? Yes. As I said, always a student. So on a more abstract level, this is for sure something. And there's definitely a lot of work on the trust that still has to be done, because I never want to pretend that I am this person that can give these advices because I am all done. It's over. No, it's a journey. Journey never ends, and it's some kind of a roller coaster. Sometimes you have highs, you have lows. So you have to trust always that process, and it can be scary. So I myself also want to come out and say that I need to work more on the trusting everything, trusting myself, trusting universe, and trusting both at the same time, because knowing that they are one and the same at the end, yeah, that's definitely something else. So on a more practical level, I would like to really create some moments, especially online, maybe some workshops that really integrate the energy healing and the yoga and the meditation. I really enjoyed when I did it sometimes, these little workshops or these situations where I take you through a mini journey, maybe when we start from here and we go to there, and we're going to tap into the energy, the movement, the breath, the meditation, maybe some self-reflection, maybe some group healing. I get so much out of just sharing that, and what I see from the people, like even how their eyes change after that hour. This is something that I would like to implement more and more.
You made my eyes light up because I also do workshops that are so similar and also very expansive, and it can be so rewarding not only to be in the environment receiving, but to be in the environment guiding and helping people through that part of their journey. And it's just a small blip. It can be an hour, it can be 45 minutes,
Yeah.
and it can be so impactful for their life. And really help them to find clarity in their next steps.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's just a little shift that can take you to a whole new level. And I love that you're doing this too, and then you can resonate with this so well. It's really nice.
Yeah. It's intriguing because I did not seek out to do energy healing and blend it with yoga. It just happened as
Yeah,
I became a yoga teacher and learned energy healing. And it just naturally occurs when you're with a group of people and you're teaching a class.
absolutely. And you know, one of my teachers, yoga teachers, says that yoga is movement, but there's no way to not make it spiritual. Like, there's no way because it's built to move the energy around the body. There, even if you go into it without wanting it to be spiritual, eventually you're gonna fall into that, or you're gonna quit it if you are so resistant onto that idea. And that does not mean that you have to become anything or anywhere, but it's just an acknowledgement that this is what yoga is. And so to me, it's a very natural progression that you for sure felt as well, to introduce other traditions of energy work within the specific type that yoga already is, because I do believe that yoga is also a form of energy healing and energy work, just a different one.
Yes, it definitely is. And I believe from my yoga teacher training that I had learned that yoga is union.
Yes.
It is union and it is reconnecting with the different parts of yourself because we are in the physical being, but there's also an energetic component to our being.
Yes, and if you want even to go deeper, I do believe that we have this mind, body, spirit connection, of course. But if you want to slice it even more, there's an emotional level, there's an anemic level, there's the physical, energetic body. So in the energetic body, you have a part of that energy that taps into the physical, and one that taps into the soul and what your soul has been through, and one that taps into the emotions that, and if you live with those layers forgotten, first of all, not nice, because they are going to act up and do whatever they want. And if you become aware of them, it's already better. But when you can start to have them play into each other, it's going to be amazing. It's going to really change things for you. You're going to feel the difference. And you realize that when you go and remove something from the anemic level, for example, a lot of things on the other levels already start becoming smoother. And if you allow your body to move energy in the body around, well, then those emotions come up and you can release them. And you don't even need to know why you're crying in the moment. I'm sure that you've seen this before, but it has happened to me a lot. I've seen it in classes, I've seen it in my trainings, people starting crying or laughing out of the blue because you're doing an hour of pranayama or a whole hatha yoga class on hip opening. And it's waterworks, because you are moving energy and you don't need to know that you are crying right now, because that it's just you needed to release that, let it go.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. I've experienced this in so much different type of body work that I've done. And sometimes you'll even get angry and maybe you want to yell and scream. That's okay
Absolutely.
too.
Trust
But
me, I've seen all the reactions. So, and I also had all the reactions. So I'm not anything special. I just let myself cry, yell, scream, laugh, all of it.
yeah. And it's so much easier than keeping it bottled up.
Yeah. You
So
know,
much.
it's funny, when I did my first healing with my now energy and spiritual healing teacher, and I received this soul alignment, I started all of a sudden, while I was laying down and receiving, sobbing, crying, sobbing out of nowhere. And she came in front of me, because we were in a public space, because it was like public, a seminary kind of thing, and told me, like whispering, I'm gonna like volume up the music. I'm gonna be in front of you. You're protected. You can cry. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. They can hear me. I want to cry now. Because that's exactly how it goes. When you let it out, you don't care anymore. You just want it to be gone.
Yeah, it's so true. I've recently been doing different types of body work that have helped me release that. And,
Yeah,
sometimes it will come up when I least expect it and I'm out in public and I don't really anticipate it, but hey, this thing wants to be cleared.
yeah.
And I'll just take a moment. I'll grab a tissue. Maybe I cry a little bit and then we move on.
Being in the car is very useful for that. Sometimes that driving like musical, like, "Ah."
Yes.
You just have to let it happen. And there again, even with all the emotional part, there's a lot of, I think, of preconceived ideas from society, like shame around crying. No, let it go. If you are comfortable doing it in your car, whether with your face on a pillow, but to do it. Just you're not less strong for not crying. Actually, you're stronger to allowing yourself to feel whatever you need to feel.
Yeah. And something that I've learned from the pranic healing is the type of energy work that I do is when you bottle those emotions up, they can stay in the body and they can move from that emotional, you said that they're the different levels of the body. They can move from that emotional level to the physical level and they can affect you physically.
That's exactly what I went through. I had so many years of bottled up emotions and trauma that went unlistened, unheard, and unexpressed because that was the situation I was in. Simple as that. And I was too young to know better. But this is what happened. They made my body shut down completely. My body was unable to process or absorb anything. And so it was really terrible. And then you start clearing that stuff and you start functioning again.
Yeah. And look at your miraculous recovery.
Thank you. But
Thank
you
you so
know,
much for sharing it. I know that it's very personal and
it is, but my whole point and one of my main whys of why I'm doing what I do is it took me so many years of suffering and trial and error and being not heard from anyone, not understood from anyone. And sorry, it was a really desperate situation. And apparently my throat is acting up because it's still rough on me. And I'm very passionate about it because I don't want anyone to feel unheard or misunderstood. Like there's no hope for you. That is very ugly to be told. I don't want you to hear that. So I want to be the possibility out there, like Sammy is, and many other people like us are, but we are all different with different stories. For someone like you, if you wanted to try, I want you to skip the trial and error. Just, I want to show you what, after all that time, I came up with. And many of us have similar journeys, similar but different. And I think that we can all be in the same kind of sphere of we just want to share this because we know that it can help so much. And we don't want you to suffer more than we have to a certain extent. So, yeah.
it's lovely. I relate to your goal so much because I've also been through my fair share of suffering, trial and error, and also learning from others who went through even more trial and error than I've been through. And it's very enlightening to be able to share the
Yes.
tools that we utilize every day that have helped us to be our best selves and continue to help us to become better. Because, as you've said, there's always that curve of continual learning and continual growth. Because in this life, we're all evolving. And
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's beautiful. It's not like, oh, damn, I have more to do. Once you really get into it, it's gonna become a sort of passion, not only a lifestyle, as everyone said, but also something that passionates you. So Sometimes you might want to be chill and all of that, and a new lesson presents itself, and you're like, why now? But it's actually very cool when you open yourself up to it and you're like, wow, I learned so much.
Yes, I completely relate to that. Uh, so usually at the end of a conversation, I like to share a brief version of a meditation. Um, I would love if you are open to it, if you want to, if you'd like to lead and guide a meditation of your own for our listeners today as a
Of course. Um, I would be honored to. Just gonna come up with something on the spot, maybe just a short couple of minutes, something,
yeah.
or do you think? Okay, all right. So everyone, please, if you're not already in a comfortable spot, find a position that is comfortable to you, whether it's seated, whether it's laying down. Just be comfortable and allow yourself to be present to your body. Start noticing the places of contact with possibly the chair or the ground, maybe your mat or your bed, maybe even your clothes. Just become very aware where you are now and leave everything else outside. This is a little moment for you. Listen to your breath, the exchange of energy coming in and out. And if you wish, after the next inhale, you can exhale with a sigh, letting go of anything that does not serve you right now, that is waiting on you. On the next inhale, take your attention to your heart center. Feel how it fills up with the energy from the outside. And every time you exhale, you release whatever in your heart is weighing it down. Every breath a little more. Imagine now around yourself a big sphere of white light. It holds you completely. It feels safe. It feels so safe that you can expand your energy and take all the space you want. Going even above and beyond your light bubble. But nothing can come in. You're fully protected by this loving, protecting light from the universe. Every breath, expand a little more and take a mental snapshot of these feelings, emotions, and save this little snapshot into your heart. When you can retrieve it every single time you want, when you need, when you wish. Whenever everything around you feels a little bit too much and you are scared to trust the process, come to your heart. Retrieve this little picture of yours, of this moment, of this bubble. Recreate it around you. Expand, feel safe, feel the love. And you can do anything. Slowly, when you're ready, come back to your body. You can start moving your fingertips, or maybe your joints a little bit, your neck, your head. If you wish, you can rub together your palms, place this in front of your eyes, and slowly open and close your eyes a couple of times to get attuned to the light again. When you're ready, if you wish, you can place your palms and hands in prayer, position in front of your heart center, open your eyes, And thank yourself for the time that you dedicated you today. And I thank you and Sammy for having me and for allowing me to guide this little moment that I hope was peaceful for all of you. Namaste.
That was beautiful. That was really, really loving, loving meditation, very expansive. Thank you. And thank you for your presence today. It has been a true pleasure to have you on this podcast. I will be sharing links in the description, but where can our listeners find and follow your work?
So you can mostly find me on Instagram. My Instagram is Orsola Luna. You will see it if it's complicated to understand. And I also have, if you wish, a little mini free course with just free videos about mind-body connection and especially dealing with overwhelm. If anyone wants to get a little peek inside, you can find that both on my Instagram and possibly even in the links, but we shall see.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for sharing your inspiring journey and helpful insights.
Thank
It's
you for holding this space for me. It was really wonderful. Really thankful that I got to connect with you.
me too, likewise.
Mhm.
And to our listeners, peace be with you. Stay blissful, stay lit.